Well, there he is once again, the President of the United States, Joe Biden, taking another trip. This time not around the world, a small excursion right into the ground. And my God, I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh my God, stop making fun of an old man. It's sad. No, it's not sad. You know what's really sad? His enablers, his wife, his handlers, knowing damn well this guy freaking is the poster child for term limits. And then they all stand up like, yay, he made it, like as if he accomplished anything. Okay, I take that back. He has taken more trips than any other president has previously in American history. Then he has the nerve to stand up and look at the ground and say, who left that hot pocket there? And they're like, sir, that sure depends. And he's like, oh, shit, not again.
Imagine sending your grandfather that's 78 years old at the end of his life to publicly embarrass him every single day. Who does that sort of thing? Well, the Biden family. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Zukradowski here of wearechange.org, and there is some absolutely wild and bonkers news to get into today, as of course domestically the situation is not going good for the general public, but Tucker Carlson is back with a staggering 76 million views. This is a big deal. We will tell you why, especially with the subject matter of the particular video that Tucker Carlson decided to talk about, which is of critical importance, especially right now with the latest developments between the proxy war between the East and the West that is definitely escalating and getting out of hand. Lots of really crazy, dangerous things happening that we are going to be reporting to you here on this independent media broadcast that, of course, is supported by you guys. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is done by the extremely talented Steve Inman, who did it again when it came to, of course, bringing up really important issues from a comedic, satirical point of view, but a real point of view that, of course, is desperately missing from the mainstream conversation. Steve Inman is a professional sports commentator that does random videos online, and he does them really well. Check out his YouTube channel. We, of course, will be linking to him and all of his channels down in the description below, since he's a content creator that is definitely worth following. As he also has a lot of crazy videos surrounding crime that, of course, is escalating and giving him a lot of videos to make. As today, it's not only gangsters and gangbangers making life difficult in the Big Apple. This as New York City is dealing with record high air pollution today after 400 Canadian wildfires created plumes of smoke that directly head for the city. This as some scientists are estimating that being in New York City right now is equating to smoking 6 cigarettes a day. This as the people there are expected to face 2 more days of hazardous smog from the wildfires in Canada, labeling New York City the world's most polluted city as of today. All of this as some health officials are warning residents to wear masks, and the scenes in the city are very apocalyptic and very true to the nature of the corrupted bureaucrats that have destroyed this lovely city with very woke, draconian, negative policies that have destroyed life for many people in that city. All of this as there are some people seeking to make body size discrimination illegal in New York City, which would make it illegal for any kind of business to discriminate, or, whatever that word means now because it's so vague and so generalized, against morbidly obese people and the fats. Yes, soon in New York City, you might not be able to say no to your morbidly obese personal trainer that, of course, has to be hired from the job and cannot be, quote, discriminated. This as it looks like California is trying to outwoke even New York City, as the California Senate just passed a bill that will stop employees from being able to confront people who steal from their stores. Yes, you heard that correctly. There's a bill that was just passed that will ban retail staff from stopping thieves stealing from their stores. This is Senate Bill 553, and with self-defense being virtually illegal, California has taken yet another step trying to legalize shoplifting, as already prosecutors in the state are ignoring thefts under $1,000, and now store owners and security won't be able to do anything about it. Can't defend yourself, can't defend your property? Sounds exactly like a technocratic nightmare. This as roving bands of politically aligned statists are running around with black bandanas over their face, being able to do what they want with essentially the protection of the state. And this is one reason out of many reasons there's been a major pushback against a lot of these woke policies that have been represented through, of course, recently corporate boycotts. As in the United States, Modelo right now has topped Bud Light and became king of American beers. This after a massive Dylan Mulvaney backlash has spurred on around 50% of the country to boycott the Anheuser-Busch company, leading now Modelo, whose sales topped to $333 million in May, a 15% rise in the same period last year, as Bud Light sales fall to nearly the same amount, as Americans pretty much said that they prefer this over this any day. As of course, Anheuser-Busch was caught using a TikTok influencer that essentially was speaking to small children that they were trying to get hooked and addicted on their fluoridated, calcifying, pineal gland hormone disrupting, liver damaging beverage that, of course, I think it's fair to say that you should probably avoid no matter what company is selling. And that's some of the advice that we've been giving on LukeUnfiltered.com. As of course, today, just for members, we're going to be doing a special video surrounding health and, more importantly, your wealth surrounding that. As of course, there's a lot of shocking news, especially when it comes to understanding what's happening with our food supply, what's happening with every small decision that we're making. We're going to be talking about that issue only for members on LukeUnfiltered.com later on today, as we are also adding new resources for members that they're able to download, use, and implement in their daily life to make sure that they're avoiding seed oils, to make sure that they're avoiding all the horrible things in the supermarket that, of course, are illegal in many countries, in many places around the world, but somehow still are legal here, poisoning people. Informed consent is the way to avoid a lot of these products. Not giving them your money is the solution. We focus on that, plus a lot more. LukeUnfiltered.com. You want to be a part of that community? You want to talk to other individuals who are doing the same? And there's a lot of them. Join the forum, join the website, join LukeUnfiltered.com, and you truly do have access to a lot of incredible resources and offers to you, including FloridaManTrip.com, a special giveaway that we're doing only for members of LukeUnfiltered.com, and you truly do get to win the prize of a lifetime, the experience that very few people get to have, and the knowledge from this experience that will, of course, allow you to move forward in life in a very more confident, more honest, real way. We aim here at LukeUnfiltered.com to make you the best version of yourself, and we're doing everything we can to utilize all the best resources we can to help provide you the best amount of information so you could pull the trigger and make the right decisions and moves for yourself. To do that, plus a lot more, just go to LukeUnfiltered.com, click the link right now in the description, click this button, sign up. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and I will see you there right after this video for another broadcast just available to you. This, as of course, we have some competition in the media sphere that, of course, is Tucker Carlson that is blowing up everyone up in the waters, just like the hydropower dams in Ukraine, as his latest episode on the conflict in Ukraine. His first episode has just netted 76 million views. Yes, you heard that correctly. Absolutely sorry. In the making of this video, 78.8 million views have been garnered by Tucker Carlson on his first episode on Twitter. We, of course, watched very closely, and the subject matter that he brought up was absolutely critically important when it comes to the national discourse, and he is now showing that he could reach audiences far more bigger than Fox News that, of course, kicked him out after he was America's #1 news anchor. On Twitter, his 10-minute segment is dominating, destroying all the other corporate media outlets combined, especially when it comes to viewership, especially when it comes to attention. And Tucker Carlson right now could probably sell primetime advertising that will be worth an incredible amount of money that could funnel and fuel his new media empire that he is launching independently outside of the contracts that he had with Fox News. This is really bad news for Fox News. This is really bad news for anyone in the media sphere, as of course, we have a new #1 video creator in all of the world, and I'm all here for it. As of course, the conversations that he sparks up are conversations that are worth having, especially with the episode he did on Ukraine, which he brings up counterpoints to essentially all of the corporate media that is just regurgitating State Department talking points. This, as Tucker Carlson slammed about how Americans are living a life in ignorance, and he is absolutely correct, as of course there are very powerful people keeping very important information from the general public that uses that ignorance, that acquiescence, to pull off some really horrible things and to have a counter viewpoint against the State Department, against the intelligence agencies, against the corporate media and the conglomerate giants that control all the talking heads is incredibly important. And Tucker has shown that last night with his 10-minute clip, specifically giving us the other side of the story that we are desperately not getting in this country when it comes to this larger war that is being escalated in Ukraine, killing a huge amount of innocent human beings, upending their lives, destroying their property, while there's deliberate efforts trying to prolong this conflict that, of course, only prolong the suffering here. Tucker Carlson didn't just focus on Ukraine. He also brought up a Pentagon UFO whistleblower. He brought up Mr. Epstein. He brought up 9/11. He brought up all of the things that a lot of powerful people don't want brought up. And for him doing that, I commend him from being able to be brave enough to start these conversations after there was deliberate attempts by powerful people to, of course, shut him down. So overall, a net positive for everyone in the media sphere. He's dominating the competition, and rightfully so. As of course, he's breathing fresh air into a dilapidated, stank-ass hellhole that is our current media sphere. So right on him for doing that. Now back to the main topic of discussion that Tucker was talking about. This, as NATO and the United States are planning a 10,000 personal, 25-nation Air Force drill that, of course, is going to be saber-rattling against the East, predominantly Russia and, of course, China and the rest of their allies that are not following through with the Western doctrine. This is the Air Defense 23 exercise that will be starting next week, simulating an attack on a NATO member country and only raising tensions between the two countries during a key, pivotal, dangerous time for everyone involved here. All of this, as today we're finding out from the Washington Post, that the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States had, quote, intelligence of detailed Ukrainian plans to attack the Nord Stream pipeline 3 months before it happened. This, as of course, it's pretty clear to say that it was Western forces or Western allied forces that, of course, took down a pipeline that the Russians were depending on for their key crucial trade between them and Europe, that now has been disrupted, severed the ties, and only created more of a tense situation between them, destroying a key piece of infrastructure and creating a natural disaster havoc that has essentially damaged the world many times over extensively, with no major freakout from Greta Thunberg or Joe Biden or John Kerry or Al Gore, who allegedly care about making the weather gooder. This, as of course, we just had another environmental disaster in Ukraine with the blowing up of a dam that the Ukrainians are trying to blame on the Russians. The Russians are blaming on the Ukrainians, but it is important to point out that this flooding, this destruction of this dam predominantly affects the first line of defense for the Russians that now have seen their major defensive position be essentially wiped out. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Russians have been building defensive positions in the south of Ukraine, which is now predominantly flooded by the destruction of this dam, highlighting a potential motive here by the Ukrainians to blow up this dam that's also causing irreversible damage and harm to the local populations that, of course, are having their whole lives uprooted and destroyed. This, as the president of Turkey is now proposing to establish an international commission to investigate who actually blew up this dam, as of course a lot of countries are pointing fingers at each other, as the UN and Turkey could be investigating this matter, which, again, doesn't really matter here. It's one war crime after another war crime, after deliberate escalations from both sides and other countries involved here that essentially push us closer towards a bigger global conflict every single day. And that's not the only disaster to look out for, as of course, there's also a nuclear reactor in Ukraine. There's also the world's largest ammonium pipeline. And again, who wins off of these natural disasters? Who wins after the infrastructure is destroyed here? Communities and neighborhoods are flooded. Drones specifically target civilian areas inside of Russia, inside of Ukraine. Well, absolutely no one, and Tucker Carlson is right for calling out this madness, since we are going towards an insane situation that there's no going back from, as even the Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin is coming out and saying soon Russia may even nuke its own territory to get rid of the Ukrainian forces that are currently inside of it. This is a real thing, with real consequences that there's no going back from, and this country has been getting disinformation, propaganda, and emotional gaslighting by the establishment surrounding this entire subject from the very beginning. And now I think it's fair to have a real conversation about trying to de-escalate this conflict, about trying to end this conflict, and trying to stop this madness right now, which I commend Tucker Carlson for starting that conversation and giving the American people at least another perspective that they never had before. Seriously, Tucker Carlson's doing important work. If you agree with that, if you agree with the context of this video and the points that we brought up, share it with your friends and family members. It is more imperative than ever. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that, and that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. One more video coming your way right now on lukeunfiltered.com. See you there.